It's time to discover the convenience and time savings of contact-free pickup with Ingles Curbside. Just visit shop.ingles-markets.com or download the app. And your Ingles personal shopper gets to work with specialized training on how to select the freshest items for a pre-scheduled pickup. They'll even text you with updates. You pull up to a designated space and your personal shopper delivers your items right to your vehicle. Fresh, fast, and affordable. It's all in the bag. Ingles. Low prices. Love the savings.
Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome into the Gramlich and Mac Lain podcast presented by Ingles. Kelly Gramlich here. Eric Mac Lain is currently on a plane. Y'all, that rhymed. I can't tell you the schedule that Mac and I have had this week. I am currently, if you're watching on YouTube, you see my green blazer. I am getting ready to head over to Greensboro Coliseum for the final day of the ACC Women's Tournament. So excited for this championship game. We've had 5 straight days of coverage here in Greensboro on ACC Network. It's been awesome. And then Mac was out in Vegas yesterday calling another XFL game, and he is currently flying back home to South Carolina, and he's going to celebrate his birthday, which is today, Monday. So if you're listening to this and you hear it, shout out Eric Mac Lain on Twitter, on Instagram, wherever, because it's his birthday. And y'all, he's turning 30. So he's a little scared about that. So some reassurance would be really nice. But we have a great interview for you guys today with Clemson, great former Clemson defensive end and current NFL hopeful, KJ Henry. Super excited to talk with him. And Eric Mac Lain was able to do this interview. I've been in Greensboro, as we said, and been pretty busy doing all-day TV. But KJ talks about his experience at the Combine and what he expected and then how it went. So this is going to be a really interesting and insightful interview with KJ Henry, who we've had on a few times and, of course, is a friend of the show. But before we get to this interview with our guy KJ, Gramlich and Mac Lain is now presented by our good friends over at Ingles. Go to ingles-markets.com. Find the Ingles grocery store in your area. They are locally owned. They support local. They support local farmers, producers, distributors, and help out communities when needed. They have so many different initiatives where they're in the community. Their Tools for Schools has donated over $17 million to local schools. They do so much in that regard. And one of the main reasons why we wanted to partner with Ingles is they have a really good meat selection, and Mac needs that for his grilling. You guys know Mac. He's a grilling machine. They sell only USDA choice or prime beef, and they cut it all in store. They grind their ground beef 5 times per day, cut that to order as well. It's like having a real butcher in your grocery store. They also have a huge craft beer selection. They've got great cheeses and cakes and all these different types of things that you're going to want. And you're going to want to go check it out at Ingles. And as we've said, stay tuned for some behind the scenes action. I know you guys are wanting more Eric Mac Lain grilling recipes. The weather is getting warmer. Mac is going to be back out there on his grind, on the grill. And he's going to be getting all of his meat products from Ingles. And, I try to cook. I do what I can. So I'll be heading over to Ingles for those things as well. But I also love their salad bar. I swear by it. And looking forward to checking out their different baby items because, that's coming up very soon over here in my house. And, of course, Mac has little Amelia as well. So ingles-markets.com to find that location in your area. And we super appreciate Ingles' support for presenting the Gramlich and Mac Lain podcast and excited for our partnership with them. Also very excited for this interview with KJ Henry. Eric Mac Lain handled it, so let's get right to it.
KJ Henry, welcome back, my brother. Excited to have you on, man. And gosh, when I was preparing for this thing, I was just thinking back, way back when you made such a special, announcement video to come to Clemson to today, you being a former Clemson student athlete. So I just want to start there. How weird is that to have that former in front of your name now?
Man, it's so weird. I feel like the last 2 months has just been obviously reminiscing on my career, but then working out with all these guys who are from so many different schools, just been fighting for Clemson, man. Like that street cred talk is like a real thing. Hey, players. So, but it's a blessing, man. Just happy to have made it this far.
Who are some of the guys? Who's giving you flack, man? I mean, you had a pretty sweet career. I mean, what are they saying to you?
Man, everybody loves you. The hate on the ACC is real. Like, everything that Coach Sweeney just kind of like uses to try and motivate us, like it's actually real.
Right.
Definitely some of my boys from Florida, my boys from Maryland, any SEC school.
Florida UF.
Yes, any SEC school just doesn't think we play football.
Hey, if it's not Georgia or Bama, line it up. Like, let's see any day.
So it's all good though. It's all good.
That's awesome. I remember those days as well. And I trained down in Atlanta, and man, it was just similar thing. Now, we had just played in a natty. We did lose, but we just played in it. So it was a little less, people could say, but there's no doubt, people just want to talk junk. You just got to give it right back. That's the way to do it. Let's talk about this season, man, because, you made the decision to come back. There was a lot of change, new coordinator, all these different things. But yet in the midst of that, I thought you put together by far your best season. You looked fantastic, got your body right. Pressures, I mean, my gosh, you're in the quarterback's face as much as anybody in the country. Just how would you assess your final year with the Tigers?
Yeah, man. It's the best it could have been. I know that regardless of whatever numbers I put up or anything like that, looking back on just my preparation for the year, there was just no stone left unturned. And that's kind of the thought that I wanted to have, whenever my time was up. And like I said, regardless of stats, I knew that I couldn't have prepared any harder than I did. So was excited for how it turned out personally. Obviously, wanted go all the way to the top, like every team each year. But definitely felt like I displayed a lot of different things that I just hadn't yet without my career to this point. So was just glad I could put those things on tape and really display my full potential.
Yeah, what were those things? I mean, going into this season, I'm sure you had a list of, okay, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this to feel good, about going to the next level. What was that like? And man, how were you able to accomplish those?
Yeah, I mean, there was some things I wanted to just show that I was a more consistent pass rusher, use my athleticism. That's my strength as far as getting to the quarterback and being disruptive. Taking some of the scout notes from last year, I needed to be better at setting the edge, better in the game, which I definitely was this year. So it was a mix of both, just knowing that I hadn't really hit my peak and still don't think I have as far as my football career. As far as the college level, and there's some things that I could, clean up as far as from, what the NFL scouts were saying, try and put those together. So it really was just a whole body of work that I just had to fine tune some things, but was very confident in the fact that I just hadn't put my best ball together yet, and that if I worked, my tail off this past season or off season to get there, that something special could really come about it.
And I think you were able to do that. Like I said, it was fun to watch you and just the array of moves and counters and things. You just had answers when guys, gave you problems. I did want to ask you about this because you were pretty adamant on Twitter about kind of stringing along the Clemson family. Am I going to come back? Am I not going to come back? What was that ever serious? Number one, and number two, if it was, what went into that decision?
Yeah, anybody knows my best talent is I'm a horrible liar, and so it's much easier, right, to just like string things along behind the phone screen. So it definitely was tough. It definitely was tough for me to have to do that to the fans. But once like me, TD, and Root, we kind of all knew our decisions. We were just gonna have some fun with it. So I kind of knew where I was standing from that aspect the whole time. But and at the same time, knowing I was about to be finished up and done, I just wanted to have a little bit more fun before I left.
So what was it? I mean, was it difficult at all with Xavier coming back, TD, Rook? I mean, those are all your guys. Did you ever think about it, or was this kind of look? I did everything I could this season. I got to go.
Nah, it was set in stone for me before the season even started. I mean, I love no hate to guys who want to spend that 6 year, but in my mind, it's like this game. At most, you only get 5 years, and that's your chance to show what you can do. And so that's what I'm gonna take, my 5 years. And like I said, regardless of how the season went, we were just gonna give it a shot. Obviously, it went well, but I made that decision before the season, so it was just season was just an exclamation mark. There was really much thought into it, up to that point. Definitely was as shocked as a lot of the fans to see some of these guys come back for sure. But I'm excited for all of them because I know it's gonna mean well for the program.
Yeah, no, it's cool that they just have that ability and think that kind of similar to you last year that there's more that they can accomplish, more that they can do. Certainly, I think they're going to do that. Last Clemson question, then we'll kind of move on to you post the Clemson Tigers there, and wanted to just ask you about Wes Goodwin in his first year as D coordinator. You and I obviously spoke extensively before anything happened, and having he was there when I was at Clemson, so I kind of knew. But just didn't know what to expect from a coach perspective, a coordinator perspective. So how would you, I guess, grade him or assess him, in this first season?
Yeah, when I think about anybody that takes a new position, um, there's only you know what you know, right? And from outside looking in, I think he did a great job for his first year. Just like everybody else, he's going to grow areas that he can get better in that he knows. I really don't know what those are from a player's perspective, but that's what he is. He's a competitor. He's a perfectionist. Like he wants to get it right every single time, man. So being in a new role, I think he did a great job for his first year, and he's going to refine it, some things, grow and develop, and help this defense even be better in the coming years. But I was really excited, to come back and play for him. He gave me just a freedom and a peace of mind to just go out there and break havoc. And you can see that displayed, in my play. So definitely wouldn't be where I am today without his confidence in me, 100%. That's kind of what he does for this defense. Allows us to just play free, play fast, and he definitely helps us, make plays as far as putting us in the right spot. So excited to see him grow, just like all my other teammates, because I know that's what he's working to do this offseason as well.
Yeah. No doubt. So now that you had a full season with him, what is the single biggest difference between him and BV?
Yeah. Um, don't get it twisted. Number one, I mean, I'm nowhere where I am without both of them.
Sure.
And I say that anytime they ask me this question. There's definitely a difference, and it's the one y'all see for sure. Like obviously, Coach V is more out there as far as like his antics and things like that, but he gets his point across, and he's a mastermind, right, with his blitzes and everything. How I see it from a player's perspective, um, Coach V is just like playing chess, man, and he's able to put us in so many different schemes, which allows us to confuse offenses and really give us the opportunity to make plays. But at times we can get confused because there's a lot of schemes that you have to remember. So with your maturity, that helps. And then vice versa. Wes, I think it's a simpler defense, which allows us to play faster, right? Play more confident, in my opinion. But at the same time, it's simpler for the offense to pick us apart at times. Because we've gotten a little bit simpler. So there's pros and cons to both. Like I said, it worked out perfectly for me because as a young kid, I definitely needed that structure and that discipline to stay in the book, right, and understand what defensive ball is. And then as I've grown, Wes, like I said, allowed me to just come in, be confident in my game, and play free and play fast. So how it unfolded for my career, I couldn't ask for a better transition and two better coaches. Definitely different styles, but both allow you to play.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt the continued excitement at that position group at that coaching area for him to continue getting better. All right, I lied. I do want one more question because I just thought of you guys about Clemson, and you're the guy, you're the leader, you're such a great liaison for the university, and so you know this stuff. Barrett Carter and Jeremiah Trotter, I think, are going to be the best duo in America. And I know I'm wearing a freaking Clemson shirt, and I know I went there and all this stuff. But those two are unbelievable. And what we saw, like the last 5 weeks of the season from them, just walk me through, I guess, number one, why are they so good? And then number two, where do you think that they could be next season?
Yeah. One thing I've learned, especially being at the combine, all of us can't teach God-given talent. All right, that's number one, and both of those have some freaky God-given talent. But as you know, there's a lot of people in this game, in the athletic profession, who have God-given talent that don't know what to do with it. And
Sure.
these guys are so hungry, man. They want to lead the right way and show everybody else how it's done, not just tell how it's done. And then they're ballers, man. They want to make plays. And so all that into one, you got two very special players, especially at the defensive quarterback, right, the linebacker position. They're just special, man. So I'm excited. I mean, it's literally going to be just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show when it comes to those two. Man in the defense, obviously got still a veteran front led by TD and Rook. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see what they can do. They're gonna fly around, make plays, and we've always had some athletic linebackers. So it's exciting to see them to be the next up. I'm really happy with what they're doing.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think easily both of them could be All-Americans by the end of the season. They're that good, and people know about them. Like we're already talking about them on the national perspective. So that's the hardest part. If you can start there, it's a little bit easier to finish than coming from kind of nowhere and having to build up on those teams. So I think Clemson family, ACC, the rest of the country, watch out because these guys they're going to be really, really good. All right, now it's all about you. I got all that out of the way. And so the season ends. You guys play in the Orange Bowl and tough game there, but then it's over. Then it's what's next. So walk me through the clock hits 0. Where's your mind? What are you thinking about? And what happens right after?
Hey, business hit fast. Let me tell you that much.
Did you sign with your agent in the locker room, like right after the game?
I mean, papers I was obviously in discussion, but you can't sign if you're done. So, I mean, I was definitely signed like the week after. I'd already had my picked out for where I was training. So it's as simple as, we fly up here the day after the game and packing. I'm unpacking my locker that night, packing everything up that night. And the next day was New Year's. I got that day to just relax. Yeah. And then the next day I was on a flight back to South Florida to train. And not even a full 48 hours felt like after the game. I was back training, getting ready for what everybody's seeing now. So, like I said, it hits you fast, but it's all a blessing. And yeah, it was a fun couple months for sure.
So walk me through, your combine training, because I think that, most people know about, because social media is so rampant now and there's so many videos everyone kind of sees, but it's truly like nothing you've ever trained for in your whole life, because you're training for like 3 very specific events, not football. You're not training to play ball at all. So walk me through, I guess, how was your body as soon as you got there? And then 2, the things that y'all would do. What were you working on? What did you specifically say, hey, I've got to do this in these, this month leading up to the combine and Senior Bowl? You had that in the middle of it too.
Exactly. Yeah, my body actually came in this spot was very healthy. Playing Tennessee in that fast low offense, body fat was in a very good spot. Having a was very good there. But yeah, like you said, it's not football training, and many people know that. But so when you train, I never ran track or anything like that. I'm getting these light cleats, and I'm training with wide receivers and running backs, and working on my form and stuff. I'm like,
that was the weirdest part for me is when I showed up. They're like, "Hey, what cleats do you want?" And it's like these almost soccer cleats. I'm like, guys, I'm 320 pounds. I cannot wear those.
If running in a straight line, if we had to cut on those, we are done. I'm glad it's just straight.
Over.
So yeah, just training for, like you said, specific movements and just over and over and over, week in and week out, day to day, just spending 2-3 hours a day, literally just training on the start, training on my stride length, certain cuts for certain drills. Like it's just repetitive, right? Until you start with a number and it keeps coming down and down and down. And you just keep working that for 2 months, and then obviously, it's just out like everything else outside of what you're doing. It's what you put into it: your sleep, your nutrition, what goes into your body, and things like that. So just making sure I was really diligent and disciplined in that process. And like you said, a little different, but it was fun. And then leading into the Senior Bowl, that was a great week, man. You're appreciative of that.
How was that though? So you were I imagine a couple days later you go down in your combine training. Right. And then you have how many weeks before the Senior Bowl combine training?
I had 3.5 weeks of training.
And, okay, so no football. You're not putting pads on, nothing. No, and then you show up with the deal.
Literally, it's definitely a lot of what you do in your career is what leans into that Senior Bowl. I mean, there's only so much you can do. I hadn't touched pads, a helmet, so a lot of just some football drills, but No, it's definitely leaned on what you know. So going down there, the only like negative that anybody could say is you've just taken a month off and you're thrown straight into fall camp. That's
Right.
the only thing.
Right.
Is your body is just, and that's for everybody, right? And obviously, like this is the most intense fall camp ever. Like the
Yeah.
competition, right? Like every movement, we're just training way past the whistle and things like that. And that's just what ball is. It's just what comes with that week. But outside of that, I mean, it was a great experience. Really, just getting the number one team up with some of the best guys in the country. Being able to play ball in front of the scouts and get feedback, coaching from guys from the next level, and really just be a part of a fraternity, for the rest of our lives. As far as the recent Senior Bowl, it was a great experience. Obviously great friends with Coach or Jim Nagy and got to see him at the combine. So still appreciative of that opportunity, but it's unique. It is unique. It definitely is one that can help you in this process for sure.
No doubt. So I guess what was the biggest, I don't know if I want to say shock or difference, but when you got there and you're like, okay, like this is NFL. Was
Yeah,
it playbook? Was it guys? I mean, you played at Clemson, so the talent it's always towards the top. But what was the
right.
biggest thing where you're like, whoa,
Definitely not playbook. Playbook's very simple.
good.
They want to keep it very vanilla so we can just play fast. And they have rules in place so that offense isn't confusing the defense. Isn't. I mean, it's just it's an all star game. They want to make sure as many one matchups as we can get. But yeah, like you said, it's the competition. Like and being at Clemson helped me and prepared me for that. Like I'm training versus the best of the best every single day. Everybody on our offensive line will, at minimum, get a shot at the next level, right? So, I'm good. I was good in that standpoint, but definitely everybody was best in the country. So
Hmm.
that was fun, and I think my goal is definitely met as far as just as disruptive I've been all year. I want to do the exact same thing versus the best guys in the country. So I think I was able to hit my goals for the week. But it was a unique experience because, like you said, it's kind of like the junior NFL. Like we're all about to make this level. This is the competition, if not better. So let's see what you can do. So it was a fun experience. I always love.
What was the my bad? What was the biggest? What was like the biggest thing that you felt that this is really going to help me? Because I do think that a lot of people maybe under the false assumption that the game is a big deal, which I really don't think it is at all. What
Yeah,
was there something? Was it like meetings? Was it one-on-one drills? What was the thing where you're like, this is going to help me get drafted higher?
yeah. Not the biggest is the practices. I mean, all the scouts and G are all. So that's definitely it's something that's big, but at the same time, it's definitely more pageantry than the practices. For me, I just knew me being consistent was going to help me with my draft stock. Also, like I said, I did come in a little lighter than I was in the season, and
Mhm.
it really was because of the Tennessee prep work, 2 weeks of getting ready for that tempo. But I wanted to be able to show my strength and show that even though I'm a little lighter, like I'm not getting blown off the ball, or guys aren't pushing me around, able to show in the run game, having some big, tall, physical offensive tackles and guards. And then I wanted to show my diversity. I'll be able to pro day, but was able to play DN, play outside backer a little bit, play the non-technique, do some drops. Shoot, they even threw me in there on punt and punt return during the game. Right, I'm a footballer, so any special teams, whatever's going to help my team win is what
Sure.
I'm all about. So I want to be able to just display all that. Like I'm ready to go on all the courts, man, and I think that's what I was able to do that week for sure.
Yeah, that's super exciting, man. I know that's a big honor to play in that game, and like you said, just the exposure and guys seeing you, for 5 6 days. That's the biggest deal there. So, all right, so we get done. You have a great performance. Now we're headed to Indy. You're headed for the biggest job interview of your life. I mean, walk me through that because I've talked to a bunch of guys and man, that they're nervous, they're excited, they're like throwing up almost. They're so nervous. What was your mindset going into this thing? Because I mean, they're truly there's nothing that can prepare you for what you those days that you went through there.
I mean, you try and get as close as you can to that as possible, but you just they tweak something every year to where it's just never perfect. And but I was very much prepared. I was excited more than anything. I knew this was just going to be another opportunity to display like what I could do, and I felt very, like I said, prepared for the moment. Being at the Senior Bowl was an underrated blessing. I got a lot of meetings out of the way, so a week for me was a lot easier mentally than a week for our high rated guys, Miles and Brian, right? The juniors who are at the top of a lot of people's boards, but they didn't get any bowl invites because they're not seniors. So all the teams are just wanting to just hold them as long as they can, right? So something as simple as I'm finishing my days up at 8, and Brian's my roommate, and by the time he's coming in the room, I'm knocked out sleep. And he's coming in at like midnight, 12:30. I've been asleep for an hour and a half, right?
Right.
That plays a lot into your week. As far as waking up early, you got long days of hospital checks, and I get it, man. If I'm making $1 million, $100,000 investments into your body, then I'm gonna make sure it's pristine, and that's really what the week is about. You guys get to see us obviously on running our 40s, doing our drills, but there's a reason it's not just that one day, right? And you spending a lot of day on medical and examinations and making sure teams that they're getting, what they're trying to invest in. So, but it's a unique experience, one that you worked your whole life for, and was excited to be able to go up there and perform.
That's awesome, man. So did you have a favorite? I mean, you ran a great 40 time. Did you know you'd run that going in? And then was there a moment? Was there a meeting or seeing a guy or, again, just running a great time like that on national TV? What was your favorite moment?
I was a little upset about it, honestly. I showed on TV much slower, so I was definitely upset about that. And I think that's played a little bit into me. Ended up tweaking my hammy a little bit, but I'd run 4.56, 4.57 when we was in Florida. So I definitely was trying to touch my 4.5s again. But it's all good. Like you said, I was still blessed to put down a good time, one that's definitely going to help me and not hurt me. So I'm content with that. But nah, really, I'm all about people. So getting to see a lot of the guys, man, who I've come through this process with at this stage was really fun for me. Nesta from Arizona State, we came in together. Me and Brent Cox, we was at the opening together. Known Nolan, knew he was going to be a freak like that. Known Nolan for forever. And so guys in the game, that like it's a brotherhood. So that we've all like that, head nod that we done what we needed to do to get here. Good to see you here. Let's keep working. So that was my favorite part, just getting to see everybody. Now, obviously, my Clemson guys saw every Clemson guy. Didn't get to dap it up with Davis, but it's okay. We've been training together for the last 2 months. So it was fun to just see everybody again. Yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so I mean that's it. The biggest kind of interview of your career. You have pro day coming up in 10 days, and I know you'll get right and continue to do that. But kind of walk me through the plan, I guess, after pro day, because it's kind of a weird time because you're not preparing for a 40 anymore. You're not doing all these things. What will be? Where will you be? What are your goals? What are you trying to do, kind of from then to draft?
Yeah. So after pro day, we're gonna kill it and celebrate with the fam. But after that, first thing we're doing, we're going to celebrate Braden Galloway and his wedding, getting married in California, and I'm so excited to be a part of his big day. So it'll be great. It'll be good to just decompress. It's been a long, 2.5 months that I've really been committed to this process. Obviously, outside of the last 22 years of my life, right? So be decompressed as literally all the other teams and scouts are doing their pro day. So it's been like a blessing. I'm getting mine done early compared to everybody else. Be able to go celebrate with Braden and Mackenzie, and then just fly right back here and get back into training. We'll have, I think, what's something I didn't know a lot about the process, which is underrated, is a lot of in-person workouts that scouts and teams come back to work you out privately. And then weeks follow, and they fly out players to come to their certain cities and meet with them and things like that. So kind of getting ready for that as well after all the pro days wrap up, and just making sure I stay in shape and getting ready to see my name gets called on April 27th, 28th, or 29th.
That's right.
Yeah.
Man, it's going to be exciting, man. We're excited to see where you end up. Last one, I'll get you out of here. What is a team getting when they draft you? I've asked a couple of scouts. I've asked Jim Nagy this, but I want to hear it from you. If you hear your name called, what is that franchise getting with KJ Henry?
Yeah, I mean, it's what I've told everybody. They're just getting a bona fide winner, man, but not just not just like specifically in my position on the field, like just in all facets of life. I want to make sure that that I'm trying to better the entire organization, just with what in any way I possibly can. Obviously, I'm gonna want to lead off the bat, but I know it's gonna be in how I come about my business first. Got to show the type of worker I am, and just trying to work to win in everything that I do. At the end of the day, I'm coming in ready to working to take somebody's job, and that's the mindset. But doing it in a way that I'm bettering all my teammates as well. And wherever I end up, just want to make sure that the team grows and gets better because they picked me. So I'm excited to see where God places me, and excited for another challenge. I mean, told my dad last night I'm actually excited to be unknown again and be the kid that has to prove it all over again. It's just going to make it much more exciting. So excited for this part of my journey, and can't wait to get it started.
That's right, man. My dad always says the top of one ladder, just the bottom of another. You just got to keep grinding, keep going. And I think that leadership thing that you said there, I think that, man, it's as important as it's ever been. I feel like just guys right now are either scared to push each other or don't want to speak up and be those leaders. And, man, I just see you finding a home and a comfort level really early in that locker room. I think guys will appreciate that. So, just to challenge you to keep being who you are once you get into that opportunity, because I know it's going to be well received. But I appreciate you, man. This is great having you back on. I'm sure we'll have you again maybe after the draft, and we'll talk about it. But appreciate you, brother.
Hey, man, anytime, brother.
Thanks again to KJ Henry for joining us here on the pod. I believe his second appearance, perhaps third if I'm missing one. I'm sorry, KJ, but he's been really great to join us at different times. And I mean, just an awesome interview, awesome person. And I think an NFL team, whatever team gets him, drafts him, is going to be very lucky to get that kind of leader on and off the field. And Jim Nagy also told us that as well when we had him on to recap a Senior Bowl and preview some of these prospects, that the intangible side of KJ Henry is very attractive to these teams. And I loved his thoughts on his Clemson journey and how he really developed as a player, but also as a man. His thoughts on Wes Goodwin, the future of that Clemson defense, his thoughts on, again, the future of Barrett Carter and Jeremiah Trotter, and going to the Senior Bowl, and just what the Combine was like. That's always so interesting. The Combine to me is a fascinating event that, I'm sure can be difficult, but also a really cool experience. So thanks again to KJ Henry for joining us on today's episode. Much more ACC NFL draft coverage to come as we are inching closer towards the NFL draft. Can't wait for that. Again, shout out, happy birthday, Eric Mac Lain. Make sure you guys go give him some love. He's turning 30. That's a very scary time for all of us. I am not yet 30. He's older than me. I would like you all to remember that. And if you haven't already, go over to Apple Podcasts, subscribe there to our podcast. Go over to YouTube, Gramlich and Mac Lain. You can just search that in the YouTube search bar. If you aren't already a subscriber, check that out. Check out all of our bowl recaps. Check out our season recaps that we did, the ACC Under Review for any team that you might be interested in. We also have some great interviews from this past year in 2022 that are evergreen that you can look at, and make sure you subscribe there on YouTube. We would really appreciate that. But as Eric Mac Lain says, until next time, we'll see y'all.